Hey folks, hope we're all doing well. Welcome to a new cannoning tutorial video. This one's going to be back on the basic series. This one's going to be talking about toggles, since I see a lot of people screw those up, adding toggles and generally adding them in either crappy spots or just making them annoying as fuck to build. So we're going to try and fix that this video and show you guys how toggles work, how safe toggles work, and all of that stuff. And we're going to be doing it on my old 2-sec. So firstly, what is a toggle? So basically a toggle is an easy way for you to change the functionality of your cannon either while it's firing or while it's not firing. So I'm going to stack 100 west. So basically what it is it's going to be a set of levers, ideally near like your button and your lever for actually firing a cannon. And it's going to just be, you flick the lever on, turns a certain feature on, flick the lever off, turns that feature back off. So you've got two main ways of doing this. And I will cover why they're really important to distinguish between them. So let's say you want to toggle, let's say this is your nuke here. And I'm going to cover like a major fuck up that a lot of people make while doing these toggles as well, and how you can fix that. So let's say we have a redstone line here. Let's say this is our nuke, and so it's currently off. And if we want to turn our nuke on, that will now complete the circuit, like so. And we take the toggle back off, and it turns the circuit back off. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set up a clock, and I'm going to show you how these toggles can fuck up. So let's make it 1.6, which is that, and then something like that, and then like that. Okay, so got our little clock there. So this here would be considered an unsafe toggle. And the reason for that is you have a non quick pulse going into the block that you're toggling. So what I mean by that is this here is like, it's a 1.6 second pulse, but even if you quick pulse this repeater here, this repeater is still going to be a full redstone tick pulse. So what I'll do very quickly is I'm going to put a repeater there, sticky piston, like that. And there you go. You can now see that's a much shorter pulse. But even with that, this is still an unsafe toggle. And the reason for that is when you do toggle, if you time it even slightly wrong, in that case, that's timed out okay. I'm trying intentionally fuck it up. No, too early. Okay, yep, something like that. So it's a bit hard to see what I'm doing, but basically I'm abusing, like when you're toggling this, the way it's gonna blow is from like a delayed nuke or something getting stuck in your slide posterior. So what's gonna happen here is if we say this repeater turns on at 0 redstone ticks, on is 0 RST, and then off is 4 RST. So in an ideal situation, we complete this circuit here. This one's going to be going on at 0. This one's going to be going on at 4, on at 8. So we say that's on 8 RST, off at 4, 12 RST. Now the problem with this toggle setup here is if you mistime this piston and you push it in after this time here, say you push it in just as that repeater is about to unpower, it's still going to power these. Now it's really hard for me to set it up in a position, or is it? Maybe. Okay, let's try and intentionally screw it. So that's going on at 5. So let's make this go on at 8. And you'll see what I mean. I'll turn this off. So basically what's going to happen here, actually let's make it go off at 7. So this is going to power, it's going to come through, and it's going to power this repeater, It's going to quick pulse this, and then you're going to get like that 4 redstone tick pulse because that's like the minimum for a 4 redstone tick repeater. Now the problem is the way I've got this set up, you should be able to see. You can see there, it's just clipping the very, very end of that signal. So if we say that's pushing at like, say that's pushing 7 there, and this is like pulsing at 5, um, basically it's going to be completing the circuit um, at a different time. It's hard to explain, but this is going to be altering the timings of these repeaters by pushing in that block later and completing that circuit later. So while this one is still on at 0 RST, off at 4 RST, this one could change by up to like 3 or I think it's 3 redstone ticks at a maximum. So actually in this case here, with this specific setup, RST, and then off 14 RST. And that's a 3 tick difference, and you can blow a cannon with a single tick difference. So that's the danger of having anything that's not a quick pulse going into a toggle. Now, of course, your toggle's not going to be wired up to your clock. That's stupid. Your toggle's going to be wired up to a lever. But my point here is if you mistime this toggle here, and you're going to have no way of accurately guessing when that redstone pulse is going through. If you mistime that toggle and you just happen to like get it so it just clips the trailing end of that redstone pulse there, you're going to end up like delaying your nuke, and in most scenarios that's either going to fuck the shot on the wall or you're going to blow your cannon instantly. So we don't want that. So the biggest fix for something like this here is we don't want a long redstone pulse going into the block we're toggling. We want that to be a quick pulse. In this case here, I'm going to set that to a 1 redstone tick repeater. You can see how fast that is now in comparison. So this is going to be on at like 1 RST, off at 2 or something. So the piston is not going to have the time to get in there, and it's not going to have the time to get in there and mess with that signal at all because it's a quick pulse. So if we change this on 0 RST, off 1 RST. Basically, if we get that piston to push at I think it should be running off the rendering. So the piston, of course, takes that redstone tick to extend. So if our piston pushes at 0 RST, I could be wrong on this. So if someone knows like more in depth as to how this works, please correct me in the comments and I will amend the video. But in this case here, I think if your piston pushes at 0 RST, at 0 RST, then because it's rendered later, like the redstone pulse, it'll still go into it. But if your piston pushes here, like it'll turn on at 0 RST. But if your piston pushes at 1 RST, the repeater's going to be off already by the time it's like time for the piston to render, I guess. So because that comes in later in the order than a repeater. I think that's how it works. I'm not certain, but you should be able to see what I'm getting at. With a situation with a quick pulse like this, you physically won't be able to blow the cannon by feeding it with um, just a really badly timed signal, where it could just be like it might happen 1 out of 30 times. But if you're in a raid where you're like toggling a backstack a lot, you could just go shit out of luck. You could be close to breaching the base, and then you just lever the cannon wrong, or like toggle something wrong, and just hits that 0.3 of a second where it might alter the timings. In which case, you just blow your cannon for something incredibly stupid. So that's the difference between like safe toggles and normal toggles. So I think I might just do the toggles for this cannon in a separate video and go through like my logic sequence, like what I want to have on this cannon, that sort of stuff, how to actually wire up those toggles and how to make them look good. I'll do all that in a separate video. Um, but for the time here, hopefully you guys understand like why you can't safely normally toggle with like a gap like that. So hopefully you guys enjoy the video. It's like my second one this week or something. So yeah, uni started. Slowing down a bit, but I'll do my videos where I can. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you learned something new, and I'll catch you all in the next one.